the other day I was walking past this thing and I saw this great pyramidal pile of purple concrete.
Oh,
it was all painted. It was something that had been purple, which had been
probably graffiti. They turned down quite a bit of graffiti
it
by the railway lines.
It was basically an enormous purple mountain of rubber.
Yeah.
It was, and I took a photograph of it, but it didn't really work photographically. But it was a wonderful thing, and I wanted to. I don't know. I wanted to bring it home and have it in the lounge. Well, maybe I could make a miniature of it.
Yeah, make a miniature of it. That's the other thing with haiku too, is to find the overlooked aspects of our life, of our landscape, the overlooked, the marginal, to explore the margins. That's really interesting. That's you've done too in your work. It's fertile ground.
But there's a particular way that you do it, though. I mean, the other day I was walking past in a very built-up intersection, and I saw a piece of newspaper on some overgrown grass, grass blades, and the newspaper was just sitting on there with a soft, gentle breeze, just moving up and down. Yeah. And that immediately, I knew that I wouldn't have noticed that if I hadn't been reading your stuff. Yeah. And I think that's because there's a sensitivity in your eye that's very, very unique to you. And although there's lots of artists who are interested in the overlooked and the banal fixtures or whatever, but there's a very particular sensibility there in what you do that kind of permeates everything you've done. Yeah. I don't think anybody could copy it.
Well, that sensibility is actually honed by spending 13 years at a Zen centre, because that's really...
so you see it as a place where you train your senses,
your perceptions.
Your perceptions.
You try and clear them out, but then they get cluttered again. You go on the internet and watch garbage. And
you watch too much crap.
So you continually need emptying out.
Yes, that whole idea that the temple is really only there because of all the rest of the crap that's in the world. You need this kind of place to cleanse yourself. It's a bit like a bathhouse or something, really. The other thing that came up, I was looking actually at the internet on your Facebook site, and you said something about heteronyms.
Oh yes, that's the recent discovery. This nice thing is to discover new writers, as you know. Pessoa, he's the greatest Portuguese poet of the 20th century. He, from very early age, he had these heteronyms, which weren't, they were fully fledged personalities that he had inside him. He wasn't schizophrenic at all, but they weren't pseudonyms. They were real entities. And it said that he had 76 heteronyms throughout his life. He had the four main ones, were these four poets that used to write quite different poetry. One was a futurist, one was a naturalist poet, one was a very philosophical poet. And they're great poems. And he published the poems under their different names. But he had other heteronyms, other identities, who were arts writers, so they would used to do reviews of his heteronym poems. And another one, he actually was interested in wrestling. He had another heteronym who wrote a little book on wrestling. And he had another one who just wrote in English, another one who just wrote in French.
Right, yeah. But of course that idea when you're speaking another language, you do almost adopt another personality.
Yeah.
I mean, or even using a different, we've been talking about these games that you can play with language by removing all of one particular vowel. Those kind of things do change your personality, they change your outlook, they change your voice.
So Pessoa had many voices, and interesting enough in Portuguese, Pessoa means person. And there was also a writer who also wrote poems under the name Pessoa, but it wasn't really him. It was another heteronym. He happened to be also named as Pessoa.